oysters, salmon, steak. Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends. Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night, as well as live sport on the big screens every Friday night. Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course, situated on 158 McKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. There is even a function space available in the heated undercover beer garden out the back. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book online, click on the Book Now tab on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au. Tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show is proudly brought to you by the Corio Soccer Club. The Corio Soccer Club would like to acknowledge and thank all of its sponsors in season 2021. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on board. It is our last show for this year, and it is going to be a massive, massive show. Episode 72 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. My name is Tonchi Prusak. I'm going to be with you over the next hour and a half and possibly even longer, as will my co-host who's in there every week. A very warm welcome to you, Steve Curtin. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, thanks very much, Tonchi. Doing well. Enjoyed. We always talk about the weather on the Geelong Soccer Show. That's just part of it. We had 4 seasons in one day today. I was cold. I was hot. It was blown away. It was raining. Had the whole lot. There might have even been hail at your place, wherever you live. Who knows? But you were out painting in this time.
Well, I was not outside, but certainly indoors, and I was just getting very, very high from those fumes. And like speaking of weather, you're trying to organise your day around, whether it's going to rain, so you do indoorsy stuff, and then when it doesn't rain, like it hasn't the last few days, where you could have done something outdoors, it's just an absolute disaster of a thing at the moment. But it is what it is. Thankfully, we're not in lockdown here in Geelong. Who knows for how much longer, and who knows for whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, we look at it in a positive kind of half glass type of full philosophy. And this year, speaking of our last show, Steve, it's one of those years where on again, off again. In the end, we didn't have a season that was completed. But tonight, we're going to take a sort of a retrospective look at the season that was. And my word, a lot happened for a season that nothing happened. Hey.
Yeah, I know. That's right. Hopefully it doesn't run too long, but we've been over the archives and the notes that we've produced over the course of the year for the show, and we've come up with some of our best moments. So hopefully we cover your best moment, but feel free to put it in the comments, and we'll put it up on the screen as well if you've got a special moment from the season that you'd like to hear honoured in tonight's show. And I'm sure there's going to be many that we maybe never even heard of taking place at the time that you can tell us about tonight. So keen to hear your favourite moment, but we're going to recap some good moments here. And speaking of some good moments, there's some big names coming on the show tonight, isn't there, Tonchi?
Big names. It is Corio Soccer Club. Thanks to our sponsor tonight, the Elephant and Castle Hotel. Absolute legends. And Mario Gregorio, who's also the president of the Corio Soccer Club, have been phenomenal supporters of this show this year. And a few people probably say, Geelong Region Soccer Show, it's all about Corio Soccer Club. Well, Corio Soccer Club have been probably one of the biggest sponsors and supporters of our show. Mario will be on to give you all the latest with regards to their brand spanking new club rooms that are, as we speak, being constructed off-site. He was out at Rendine Constructions in Moolap earlier today, and he sent through some photos. So we'll be going through some of the latest with regards to that. Christian Bright, senior men's head coach, he'll be talking to us about plans for season 2022. Good to see a lot of clubs around Geelong have already started that planning process, Steve, looking ahead to next year. But mate, the big one, and this is courtesy of Elephant and Castle. They are the ones that have teed this up. Ex-Socceroo Andy Bernal will be appearing on the show later on tonight. That's going to be awesome.
That's right. And his book, Riding Shotgun, an autobiography of the original Wizard of Oz, that's going to be up for grabs later on.
Yes, we'll be giving away not one, not two, but three copies of Riding Shotgun, Andy Bernal's book. And that is going to, so stay tuned with us a little later on. That's coming up later in the show after the hour mark. So a lot happening. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic show, mate. We're going to get straight into it with the news. We've got a little bit of news, and then we've got some lots and lots of information, lots of compilations, if you like, the top 5 shows on our Facebook page, top 5 shows on our YouTube channel, plus the season that was. So, ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in for a very, very entertaining episode 72 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Steve, let's take it away with all the latest news.
All right, mate. Well, on my notes here, I've got the EPL as the opening thing. So we should pay homage to that great game that took place in the early hours of this morning, 2:20 a.m. That one kicked off Liverpool and Man City. It was 2-2. Some sensational goals and drama in that match with goals for Mane, Foden, Salah, and De Bruyne getting the equaliser in the 81st minute. That goal from Salah was absolutely out of this world. Did you catch the highlights, mate?
No, I didn't, mate. No,
do yourself a favour when you finish the show.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, it's been such a busy day getting myself organised getting ourselves organised for tonight's show that I just have not had a chance to literally scratch my proverbial. So and between painting as well. So once the show finishes tonight, I look forward to catching up with some of the highlights from overnight, mate. Did you watch it?
Look, I did see a little of the start of it. I was up crazily late watching Crystal Palace Leicester until 2 a.m. And of course, these games, they never seem to peter out. They're always right down to the final whistle when they go until the 95th minute, and it's all to play for. So you feel a bit tense at full time and you can't go to bed right away. So I was watching a bit of cycling actually from the Paris-Roubaix, people riding through the mud and the cobbles in the northern France. And then I went to bed, and just to help myself ease off to sleep, I just had a little look at that first half, because certainly if I was watching the second half of that match between Man City and Liverpool, I wouldn't have been able to fall asleep because it was all drama in that second half there.
Yeah, let's look at the ladder there, the EPL ladder now. So after the completion of round 7, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Everton, Brighton. Gosh, only 2 points separate top and 6th position there in the EPL. The top 5 obviously places lead to Europe, so there's always that fight for the top 5 spots. But
Brentford doing well, mate. Brentford doing exceptionally well. Another win over West Ham last night at West Ham as well. Very good effort.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Brighton have been doing well, but Brentford, newly promoted, they just keep on doing, just surprising, really pleasantly surprising everyone. And geez, that game against Liverpool, when was it? 3-3 last week or the week before, was just so event filled, and that was just great to watch. And it's good to see those, a team like that, like Brentford, newly promoted and doing so well. At the other end of the table, though, some of the newly promoted teams, in fact, Norwich City in particular, really struggling. But having said that, once again, it's very, very close at the foot of the ladder with 6 points or 2 wins separating 12th and 19th in the EPL. So a lot to play for. Certainly is a very, very interesting competition, the EPL.
Only 31 rounds to go there, so it's a long way to go.
Lots of opportunity for teams to start getting some points and results and what you're not. Mate, let's move along to the Serie A competition in Italy. And one of our most loyal viewers, Santino Mamoni, he's been very, very happy with some of the results coming out of Italy over the weekend. Let's go through some of those results, mate.
Yeah, well, we mentioned last night on Football Out West in the Turin derby, Juve as the away team in that fixture got the 1-0 win. So congrats there, Santino. Very happy to hear that result for you, mate. Today or this morning, a couple of high-scoring ones. Sampdoria 3, Udinese 3. That was beauty. Early last night, Bologna 3 over at Lazio. really good effort by Bologna, and also there was for over and Spezia, and a nice win for AC Milan. We keep up their win ways 3-2 to land. It's the most result there for Milan, getting and Napoli. They are flying at the moment in the league. They beat Fiorentina in Florence 2-1.
Yeah, if we look at the ladder now, the Serie A leaders, the top 10 there. Napoli doing well, 7 wins from 7 games, aren't they? Streaking clear from the pack. But having said that, Milan are only 2 points behind, and they've done really well. 6 wins, 1 draw. Inter Milan, 5 wins, 2 draws. Roma, 5 wins, 2 losses. So look, it's quite close up the top there. And then we've got a glut of teams that are separated by 1 point: Fiorentina, Lazio, Juventus, Atalanta, and Bologna. And then Empoli making up the top 10. At the other end of the table, Steve, some interesting positions there, results.
Yeah, well, we saw Salernitana get the win this weekend. They got a 1-0 win over Genoa, who's sitting in 16th, and that took Salernitana off the bottom for the first time this season, and it's their first win since they were promoted. So congrats to them. At the moment, Cagliari and Spezia are just in a little bit of trouble in the relegation zone at the moment. Obviously, can turn it around quickly. So all these teams will be having a week off now for the FIFA dates, and then it'll be as you were in a couple of weeks and all to play for. So looking forward to the return of Serie A after that.
Yeah, that's right. Next week, the international window. So there's going to be a lot of internationals being played around the globe, and including our own Socceroos. They'll be in action. There's the squad for the Socceroos, and they've got 2 games coming up this Thursday up in Qatar, when the Socceroos take on Oman. And then the big game next Tuesday night at a reasonable hour of 9:14 p.m. next Tuesday night at the Saitama Stadium in Japan. The big clash between the Socceroos and Japan. That's going to be a big one. But let's look at the squad first of all. I think it's a 25-player squad. Yep, it is a 25-player squad. Any interesting inclusions or exclusions that you can see, Steve?
Yeah, well, like Brad Smith was forced out of this 25-man squad after testing positive to COVID-19. So not good news for Brad Smith. We wish him a speedy recovery. And goalkeeper, who was a backup goalkeeper, Paul Izzo and Ryan Strain and Bailey Wright, all omitted. The big news, I suppose, coming into the team, Chris Economides, who is the only A-League based player. So we're looking like we're going to see a return of A-League based players coming back in, obviously with the exception of Ryan Grant, who remained overseas for this particular fixture. So, yeah, he's been granted access to go and play this game and get back home and get into training with victory after that. Also, Serie B star, the Croatian Aussie right-back Fran Karacic, makes a welcome return and adds a lot of depth in that right-back position. So good to see him back in, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite a decent sort of a depth there. And look, it will be tested 2 games on the road. The first one against Oman, and then the second one against Japan. The Japan one has me a little worried. That to be honest, that's going to be obviously Japan in Japan, and the Japanese will be very, very motivated. But a week of top class international football coming your way, folks. So that should be really, really exciting. Really looking forward to that, by the way.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And you just think about that first game against Oman. Could be pretty tough as well. You think if that match was able to be played here on home soil, as it would have been, we'd be very, very hot favourites. But playing that one in Doha, it's almost, getting closer to a 50-50.
Yeah. Now, this year we've been absolutely blessed to have the support of some fantastic clubs and for some fantastic sponsors, but also we've had some fantastic members as well. And this is an opportunity for us to publicly thank all of our members that have been with us. And on the screen there, we just have the current members. So we really, really appreciate those members. We've got 6 gold VIP members, Steve, and 1 bronze member. And 3 of those members, Joe Pino, Vladimir Zetovic, and Stuart Mallon, they've been members since last year, so the middle of last year. Paul Grisbeck joined up in April, Ryan Horrocks in May, as did Leonie Smith, and Dale Harris has been a member since March. Folks, we do need your support. We want you to become members, and even now during the off season, for as low as $15 a month and as much as $25 a month, your contribution can be helping us to get on a very good footing before the next season starts. And we're hoping to come back, mid-February, possibly earlier, depending on what happens, obviously, with FFA Cup action, what happens with the season, the Geelong Community Cup, which, by the way, Steve, we might find out some more information tonight. But ultimately, it all comes back down to the situation around the current restrictions, and if that all changes, and hopefully it will. Folks, how can you become a member? Visit the website, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. And as we said, your help, your contribution in any way goes a long way to helping us make this show possible. And unfortunately, it's probably, well, it is. It's the only football dedicated show in Geelong. And apart from your good self, who does a good job promoting the sport on a weekly segment with the Bay FM sports show on Saturday. What's it called, Steve, by the way? You've got a little cameo on that.
Yeah, the Sideline View with Kevin Hillier on Bay 93.9, 1 till 5 every Saturday afternoon. It's not all sports talk. It's a mixture of music and sport, which is the way that Kev likes to keep mixed up. He has some very good guests on there as well. We had a chat with Simon Hill only a few weeks ago about the national teams in the A-League. It was excellent. Actually, that was during the last FIFA window about the Socceroos. Yeah, so very, very high caliber guest. So it's worth a listen, and very good to get the chance to promote our local game on something that's got a very big audience, almost as big as this show.
Almost as big, not quite. And speaking of big shows, we've had some massive shows this year. And now's an opportunity, I guess, Steve, to have a look at some of the top rating shows this year. And if we have a look at, I guess, the first one on the YouTube, on our exclusive YouTube channel, go onto our exclusive YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see some of the shows, that you may have missed out this year. But the top 5 shows, and there we go. We'll have a look at that. The top 5 episodes from 2021 on our YouTube channel. Episode 63, which featured our featured club tonight, Corio Soccer Club. That was way back in May 31st. That was our highest rating episode this year. So well done to everyone associated with Corio Soccer Club. It seems every time we do have Corio Soccer Club mentioned, it rates really, really well. And one of the reasons is because I think that may have been the show. I'm not too sure if that was the show with, I know it wasn't the show with MJ Monaghan, but there was another Corio show with MJ Monaghan, might have been the April 19 one, which polled in at number 4. That got a lot of overseas interest. And as you can see, second most popular episode featured the Geelong Rangers. Now, the Breakwater Eagles one was a really, really good one. What was interesting with that one was that the Breakwater Eagles did a lot of in-house promotion. And I think they had a lot of people, not just their seniors, but a lot of their juniors, a lot of their social members, etc., signing up or not signing up, but they were tuning in to watch the YouTube show, because a lot of these YouTube shows, we get a lot of people watching it after, like the replay. So great to see Corio featured twice in the top 5. And then on the July 5th edition, Surf Coast as well was featured. And that was with Mariella Pocklington, the Surf Coast president. So some interesting shows there. We did have one where we had technical problems with the North Geelong one. And that was rating really, really well until all of a sudden, I think YouTube killed it off for some reason, or we had some sort of a technical issue there. But that would have figured in the top 5 as well. But Steve, some interesting shows. Brings back a lot of memories, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a funny year that it has been, and there's been some really good moments actually. And hopefully we can tick off some of those in our year that was tonight as well.
Yeah, top 5 then, the YouTube interviews. So these were just the interviews on their own, where we've edited the interviews. Did you want to go through those top 5 lists there, Steve, from our YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. So at the top of the list there, we've got Eddie Contel, COG councillor, talking. I presume that was talking about the Geelong Rectangular Stadium
Yeah.
or regional soccer facility discussion. And then Roy Hay, just recently on September 20th, talking about a history of Geelong football. That was really popular as well. And as you mentioned earlier, MJ Monaghan, former Corio, British expat that was playing out here. That was back in April. Mariella, the outgoing president there at Surf Coast, she's always good for a chat, as well as Brad Roberts talking a bit of futsal at Geelong and the Leisure Time Centre.
Now, it must be said that not all the interviews this year that we had as part of the shows were edited and cut down. But we've got a playlist there on our YouTube channel where quite a fair few of those interviews were cut down to just, or edited to just, those interviews. So if you missed out on any one of those interviews, the MJ Monaghan was quite an interesting one. That was April 21st, but it's still there. And the Roy Hay one, I know it was only a couple of weeks ago, but geez, that was it went for about an hour and something. Very interesting interview, that one. Very educational too, as far as the history of soccer in Geelong.
Yeah, learnt a lot that night, and plenty of good stories told, and more to come as well in the future from Roy.
Yeah. And then last but not least, from our Facebook page, no surprise, and this is where we get the bulk of our viewers. Now I don't know how Facebook works it out, but the most popular episode that was viewed on our Facebook page alone was episode 65, and that was the one featuring Liana Whitehand, the young lass from was it from Drysdale Soccer Club?
She'd been at Drysdale and down at the Bayside Sharks as well before that.
Bayside Sharks, correct, yeah. And she was going through a tough time fighting cancer, and there was a charity drive, I guess, a fundraiser event on the June the 21st, and it attracted something like 13.5, close to 14,000 views on Facebook. Like, incredibly, very, very well. And that was just the Facebook page. That's not taking into account our Football Out West Facebook page, which is our show simulcast on. It's not taking the YouTube channel. So that was an extraordinary amount of viewers tuning into that one. Episode 71 with Roy Hay as well. Very, very well viewed. We had episode 70 week prior to that, when Rob Casher from Galaxy and Michael Parker, the outgoing president of Armstrong United, as well. That was, I think, our first episode back after a long lockdown. So very good to see a lot of people tuning in. And then we had episode 56, which featured the Geelong Rangers back in April 12. And then episode 57, which featured Corio Soccer Club back in April 19th. They were also factored in the top 5. So some really, really good popular shows, episodes throughout the course of the year, Steve.
Yeah, some beauties. Enjoyed all of those ones, mate. So yeah, looking forward to more next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, guys. When we do return, Steve's going to be taking us through a little bit of a trip down memory lane as he gets himself all ready for that. The year that was 2021, the year that was. But in the meantime, once again, there's the website, how you can show your support and become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Let's get up to 10 members. Let's get 3 more members this just over the course of this show tonight. We need your support. We appreciate your support. Would really, really appreciate anyone joining up and becoming a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. There it is, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. Don't go away, guys. It's when we return, it's the season review time 2021. Oysters, salmon, steak. Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends. Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night, as well as live sport on the big screens every Friday night. Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course, situated on 158 MacKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. There is even a function space available in the heated undercover beer garden out the back. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book online, click on the Book Now tab on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is our last show for season 2021. It's going to be a massive show. We've got some super duper guests coming on a little later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, Steve, the 2021, the year that was, a year we'd rather forget, or the year we'd like to look back upon and remember some of the good times in what was a trying year.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's get straight into it, where we begin in February, the opening weekend of soccer in Geelong, with great resilience had to be shown from the get-go as well, with both the organisers and the participants of the Geelong Community Cup being quite flexible, where the tournament was rescheduled and pushed back a week after a snap lockdown across Victoria, and the host Corio Soccer Club claimed the silverware, winning 5-4 on penalties over North Geelong Warriors there, and you can see the boys looking pretty happy with themselves after the win there. Meanwhile, on the very same weekend, the FFA Cup qualifying round was kicking off with all of our State 5 teams, Deakin, Surfside Waves, Barwon, Lara, all advancing in their first cup ties on that same weekend. And that wasn't all, because there was also a bumper weekend that weekend, including the Sandy Bay Media Cup, which took place at Stead Park. Some of Victoria's best women's team battling it out, and it was a triumph in the Division 2 side of the competition, with the North Geelong Warriors running out winners there. And we've got a picture of that to put up on the screen as well. And to round out the month, there's the girls there with their trophy at Stead Park. And to round out the month, the FFA Cup continued into what was dubbed round 1 after the qualifying round the following weekend, with Deakin, Surf Coast, Golden Plains, Bell Park and Lara all advancing in the competition, which saw us run then into March and the beginning of the Nike FC Cup, which kicked off with the North Geelong Warriors continuing their good form from the Cup previously, defeating Hampton East Brighton 11-0 in the qualifying round, while the Geelong Rangers and Deakin Ducks also advanced convincingly, winning their ties 6-0 and 3-1 respectively. While the joy was short-lived for Deakin, who were knocked out 1-0 by Mornington the following round, Geelong Rangers, North Geelong and a free-scoring Lara 14-0 over Brimbank all cruised through in the Nike FC Cup. Meanwhile, it was Deakin Ducks doing the region proud in the FFA Cup with a 2-1 win over Bayside Argonauts on what was a long away trip on a weekend that saw 4 of our local state league sides all knocked out. Deakin's brave FFA Cup run would end at the hands of Mill Park the following weekend on March 13th in a round that saw NPL clubs enter the competition. North Geelong had a stunning come-from-behind 3-2 win over Kingston City to advance. Now moving on to March 20th, where history was made for Surfside Waves, making their state league debut as the state and NPL seasons kicked off on that particular day, March 20. While they were beaten by what proved to be a top of the table side, Keilor Wolves, the Waves did manage to find the net twice in their opening fixture. And in round 2, it was Corio with a thrilling first win of the season, defeating Clifton Hill courtesy of a 90th minute winner from Callum Ferguson at Hume Reserve. And on your screen now you can see, which was much more fittingly than the previous year, where the Masters Summer League was indeed able to complete its season and have its big final day, which saw Batesford Hotel battling the Elephant and Castle for the silverware. And if you can remember who won that particular fixture, put that one in the comments too, because I couldn't find it on the Masters League Facebook page today. But there was the trophy there and the silverware, and I'm sure a lot of people had a good time and may or may not remember afterwards what happened.
I'll tell you what,
Uh,
though, it was a fantastic end to the summer, wasn't it? Like football
yep,
just came back in a big way, and who
huge.
would have known that unfortunately the winter was going to be marred by COVID, and we weren't going to have the season completed. But yeah, like February, March, and then April started. It was just so much football activity. It was great to see. The fields around Geelong just fully buzzing with football action.
It was after the year that never was in 2020. It was just
Mm,
all guns blazing, wasn't it? And
yeah.
people were flying out of the blocks. And also, one more thing in March, the final weekend of the month, Geelong Galaxy, North Geelong, and Lara all powered through into the third round of the Nike FC Cup, which took us on to April. And while many of the Geelong soccer community took the Easter weekend to recharge after a busy start, as we just described, North
Mm,
Geelong would travel to Frankston, coming away with a 6-0 win at Peninsula Strikers in the FFA Cup, while also over the Easter weekend in the Nike FC Cup, Lara, with just 12 players available, would go to Ballarat and advance 2-1. In that particular tie, Lara would be joined in the fourth round of the Nike FC Cup by Galaxy, who also advanced through in their third round fixture a week later.
mm.
And then in what would prove to be one of the best weekends for our NPL sides, for a little while, North Geelong defeated Werribee City 5-2, and Geelong were convincing 3-1 winners over Box Hill. And it turned out that there wasn't actually too many times where we had 2 out of 2 wins in the NPL for those men's sides this year, Tonchi. And then local league kicked off with its 45 senior men's and women's teams, getting underway from April 17th and 18th, and with round 1 beginning that particular weekend, wins for Bell Park, Barwon, and Drysdale in the men's, while in the women's it was Corio, Bay, Geelong, Barwon, Drysdale, and FC Leopold, all enjoying wins. And to round out April, Surfside Waves grabbed their first state league points with a 5-1 win over Maribyrnong Greens, while Milton Bailey made a shock return to Barwon from Surf Coast and scored a double in his return game to seal victory. And there he is there. That was a big news item
Yeah.
when that happened, wasn't it, Tonch?
Oh, it was huge, wasn't it? It had, it was a real talking point, wasn't it, Steve? The youngster who's, it polarized opinion. Some people were saying he shouldn't have gone in the first place. Some people were saying he shouldn't have returned back in the second place. It was a step back. Others were saying it was a step forward. But ultimately, he's a kid with a lot of potential. There are quite a fair few other kids around the region as well. And hopefully we'll be able to see Milton and a few of the other kids as well in season 2022 really doing all of their, strutting their stuff on the football fields around the region. That takes us through to May, wasn't it?
And then we saw in May Bell Park tearing up state ball with the recent signing Josh scoring fun, including a 4-goal haul in the Midland Highway derby against Golden Plains, while North Geelong would advance in the FFA Cup in a midweek home win under lights at Alco Park over Keilor Park. Cryo's Darcy Rapper suffered a freakish injury doing battle against Fitzroy, fracturing his C7 vertebrae during that match. And there's an image below there where friend and teammate is comforting Darcy with some homemade tiramisu, and that, of course, is Lorenzo Princigali in the picture there doing a bit of cooking, and good to see smiles on the boys' faces there. And hopefully Darcy is still managing to recover and doing a lot better now that that's a few months behind us.
Yeah, hopefully he's back in action. Also in season 2022, he's another player who's just electrifying to watch. And hope on behalf of everyone at Corio Soccer Club, I'm sure he's doing really well, and he'll be back in action in the green jersey next year. Steve.
That's right. In the women's state leagues, Lara were banging in the goals to fund themselves. In State 2, Sophie Rasmara scored 9 and Izzy Wilkinson scored 5 as they defeated Brighton 23-0. While in the women's State 3, North Geelong were hitting top gear with a 12-0 win over Maidstone, where Jadranka Ertzeg scored all 4 goals. And meanwhile, in the men's football side of things at North Geelong, Zelko Gagler would become the first high-profile coaching departure of the season. After North's league form started, he would be replaced in that position by Stuart Begg. In the local league, Thursday night football was becoming a bit of a feature with an exciting 2-2 result between Elko Park Cardinals and Barwon, a sign of things to come. So perhaps we'll see a bit more of that next year as well, Tonch.
Maybe Friday night football has become such a popular thing with a lot of clubs, but Thursday night football as well. Speaking to a few players this year, they really love the idea of having their weekends free, especially if they're already involved in coaching or they've got kids that play. It just frees things up completely. So it will be interesting to see with more and more facilities having adequate flood lighting. And it obviously alleviates some of the pressure on some of the facilities, especially with a lot of junior teams as well. Men's teams. You mentioned the local men's competition. I mean, this year there was something like 53, 54 senior men's teams around the region, ranging from NPL all the way down to Division 3 of the local league. So seniors reserves as well. That's a lot of teams, and hopefully post COVID we'll get a lot of players coming back and really especially those that have missed out on action over the last couple of years. They'll be really keen to come back. So something to look forward to. Moving on to then June of this year.
Yeah, well, after that thrilling run of matches heading into the beginning of winter, Victoria would be plunged into a snap lockdown that would run from late May into early June. But it was the local league juniors that would be the first to return to play in June. But the Junior Country Championships scheduled for the Queen's birthday was unfortunately a casualty and had to be postponed. North Geelong president John Didlitzer made headlines being appointed as the director of football at Melbourne Victory after the club looked to turn over a new leaf. When senior football returned, Geelong's lack of football-specific facilities were highlighted when North Geelong had to host its FFA Cup Round 6 tie with the high-flying NPL 1 side Avondale on the Elko Park pitch number 2. Despite a lively performance by the Warriors, they were eventually outgunned by the table-topping Avengers juggernaut 5-1. And it was a proud day for the women of Armstrong United after a difficult campaign to date. In the all-in-one division, women's competition, as it were, the Pelicans broke through for their first win on June 20th with a 2-0 win over Deakin Ducks Gold, and weren't they happy about that?
Absolutely, and that really epitomised what we talk about perseverance and how perseverance pays off. And at the start of the year, there was even talk that they would, withdraw. And when the club and the coaches put it to the players said, "No, look, even though we're well out of our depth in the single division women's competition, we'll stay in there and we'll keep on playing." And ultimately, their hard work, their perseverance, their enthusiasm, as is evidenced by that photo, that group photo there on the screen, it paid off, and they recorded their first win for the season. Well done to the female Pelicans.
That's right. And then also, as we mentioned earlier, in June, we learned on the Geelong Region Soccer Show of the story of local player Liana Whitehand and her extraordinary sacrifice required to beat osteosarcoma. And it was a story that resonated with the community and showed a lot of compassion and unity in the local football comrade. And that was good to see. Also, something that was good to see, local girls Kyra Cooney-Cross and Laura Brock both selected in the Matildas squad for the fast approaching Olympic Games. Moving into July after losing to an 89th minute wonder goal by Western United's Reece Bozanowski in NPL 3 at Stead Park, Geelong coach Jamie Monteith decided to step down from the role and was replaced by midfielder Jake Butler, who would operate as player coach for the remainder of the season. And we actually called that game together, didn't we, Tonchi? Our only game we called together this season, that particular match between Western United and Geelong at Stead Park.
And those 2 goals by Bozanowski were world class, absolutely world class, especially the second goal, the winner. But how many times this season down at Stead Park they would concede a late goal? And I think from memory, we actually called it. We actually said it's going to be a dangerous time because this is around about the time now that Geelong has conceded many goals in the past. And lo and behold, But it did take a wonder goal by Bozanovsky, who I think is a Macedonian youth international, something like that. And believe it or not, scoring against a Macedonian backside, it's always your own that does it to you. But Jake Butler then took over, and he did a pretty darn good job, the former New Zealand international. I don't know if it's true, but I'm hearing sort of on the grapevine that he may be actually on his way back to New Zealand because of everything that's happened with the whole COVID thing. So if that is the case, that will be a big loss to Geelong Soccer Club. If I stand corrected, I'm happy to admit that I wasn't I wasn't right. I wasn't accurate. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of movements happening over the next month. Over the next few months, indeed, not just down at Stead Park. Moving on, Steve.
That's right. And also in July, another lockdown fell across Victoria, and concerns of completing the NPL and State League seasons begin to be raised. But fixtures would resume by the end of the month, with Geelong getting a resounding 4-0 win over Ballarat in the NPL 3. Bell Park and Barwon would get big wins in State 4 and 5 local derbies, while in the Women's State League, Lara and North Geelong picked up where they left off with strong wins over Hoppers Crossing and Altona Magic, respectively, which takes us into August, with lockdowns in Metro Melbourne returning the attention turn to the local league. And in the men's, and you can see on this screen there, in the men's Div 3, Colac Otway Rovers claimed a memorable first win of the season, defeating Barwon Heads 4-3 in a thriller at Recreation Reserve. I found on the Facebook page today a picture of them singing the teams, which they said ended up being a map up because they couldn't remember which song to go with, and they sang a bit of two different songs in the one verse.
That's actually a game playing against Lara. That was a Lara United. That was in Barwon Heads, but it's all we could find from their Facebook page.
No pictures from the day, unfortunately, we could find. On the 20th of August, Friday night football continued for the local league men's Division 1 action, with Bell Park defeating FC Leopold 5-3 at leisure time, while at Alco Park, the Cardinals went down 1-0 to Corio Bay. And little did we know that would be the final games of football for the season, with an impending lockdown across all of Victoria to come the next day. Football Victoria moved swiftly to pause any football-related activity from 11:59 p.m. that particular evening. And then on September the 3rd, Football Victoria announced that the season for Metro competitions would be terminated, with no promotion, no relegation, Premiers, Champions, Finals or Golden Boot awards being handed out. The Geelong region teams most affected by this would be the runaway leaders of Women's State 3, North Geelong Warriors, who were 12 points clear on top of the table with 12 matches completed, and would certainly have gone on to claim the title, barring an absolutely unpredictable run of form. Football Victoria would leave the door open for a regional football to return, but until it became inevitable that this wouldn't be possible, with the flickering flame finally extinguished on September 16th in an official capacity. Tonchi, that's my year that was. We hope you've all enjoyed it, and if you think we could have had something else in there, just pop that in the comments and we'll pop it up on the screen as well.
Yeah, so look, it's worth having a look back at the year that was, and hopefully we've managed to sort of bring up some of the better points of the year that was. But we're look, as a result of all that, we're really running far behind schedule. So we're going to take a very, very short break, a very quick break. When we do return, we'll have our first guest, and that'll be the president of the Corio Soccer Club, Mario Gregorio. Don't go away. You're watching and you're tuning in to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Okay, welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Absolute pleasure to have you on board. And we're going to hopefully have Mario Gregorio joining us now very, very shortly. Mario, how are you? Oh, we haven't got
He's very
Mario.
quiet. He's very quiet and hard to see. Looks like it must be pretty dark where he is at the moment.
we haven't.
The lights are out. Maybe we can take him out and put him back in again and see if we can just play some hold music there, and we'll be right back with President of Corio Soccer Club, Mario Gregorio, any moment now.
Hopefully we can have Mario there. Hello, Mario, you there?
I think Tonchi might have had enough of having to wait so long for our.
Well, what we might do is we might try and see if we can get Christian Bright, who's the senior men's head coach of Corio Soccer Club. Now he is patiently waiting over in the green room. So let's see if we can get Christian on. We'll try and bring him on because Mario, we're not having any luck with Mario. Christian, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great
Christian,
to have you on.
going?
You've saved us. Thank goodness for that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where the boss is, where the president is. He should be around. But mate, great to have you back on the show. It's good to see. There are a few clubs around town that are starting to already plan for next year. But before we do talk about next year, Christian, let's talk about the year that was. A topsy-turvy start to life in State League One. It was a tough kind of an experience. How did you see it?
I'd tend to agree. It was just, I think, given, and probably all the clubs are in the same boat, given last year with the lockdown and then starting again. I think it was just a long, drawn-out sort of pre-season. I think last year was predominantly pre-season for the players. So one of the challenges for Chris and myself was just keeping the guys engaged and getting through a pre-season yet again, and keeping them sort of refreshed and excited about the season to come. And once the season got underway, it was full steam ahead. We had sort of some good results. We were very inconsistent for a number of factors, but we had some really great results for a team that came together rather late. And then we had, obviously some changes with Chris having to focus on his business for a period of time, and then I had to step in. It was there was some challenging moments in the season. I've never quite known a season to have been playing or coaching the amount of injuries we had. I don't think we ever had the same starting 11. And it was getting to sort of dire straits, actually. By the time the latest lockdown came, it was probably a blessing in disguise for us, because I think we had 13 senior players out injured from anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks onwards. Yeah, so it was a tough time, but it was also really enjoyable. The guys took every challenge on board and rose to the occasion on more than once. Yeah.
Yeah, would you say that was just coincidental that you had such a high number, or was it do you put it down to the on again off again due to lockdowns and the start to the season, and is that maybe a factor? Would that had something to do?
Look, I'm not sure. It could be, but we sort of had some freakish injuries as well. Darcy's been a huge one for us. He just, it was sort of just an innocuous challenge, landed awkwardly, and then bang, he was out. Ironically, that was the first game we managed to have everybody sort of back, and we could push him back into the midfield. And then that was it. He lasted I think it was about 25 minutes. But even we just had some sort of freakish injuries as well. Young Seth in goals, who's had an outstanding debut season for us, just pulled up sore after one game on his shoulder just from a save, and that was him for 5 weeks. So, it was probably a combination of both. But everybody had a go at covering and played multiple positions and out of their customary positions. But they just did what was required for the team and the club.
Now, Christian, the boys managed to get 3 good wins on the
we've
board.
lost you,
Was there
Steve.
one of those? Oh, sorry. Can you not hear me?
Oh, we can't hear Steve.
I've got you, Steve.
Oh, okay. That's little bit strange. Well, I'll keep asking the question, and I don't know if Tonchi can sort that out at your end. But out of those 3 wins that you got, Christian, was one of those your favourite moment of the season, or was it something else that happened during the year?
No, probably probably the away game that we had at Clifton Hill. We had a good win against Yarraville away. And started to sort of get some momentum, and then we had a couple of injuries, but against Clifton Hill we had I think we won 5-2, but we had to make 3 changes by about the 55th minute just because of injuries again. But for me, that was a great game. Everything sort of that we'd been working on all year, both attacking and defensively, was paying off. We had a couple of new guys coming into the team as well. But for such a young team to put in that performance, I was wrapped with that one. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. And what was it like running the training sessions when you were suffering so many injuries? Were you forced to change your plans to try and have the right amount of players to do the exercises that you wanted to do and things like that?
Yeah, I learned early on that you're a little bit naive if you're going to go into training and just have one sort of schedule for training. So I try and plan for 2 to 3, and obviously between school and work, everybody has things that pop up, so you have to sort of adapt. But in terms of when we had some of those injuries, also you got to be mindful of the reserves and Bicky and the numbers that he's got there coaching too. So you can't just take all his players and leave him with nothing. So there was at times we were really down to bare bones, and I think the poor guys even had to endure me joining in for one session just to try and get us through there to get some drills done.
Yeah, mate.
I'll go.
Sorry.
Tom.
I was just going to say, actually, you asked a question because this is a sort of a different question now, peeling onto next season.
Oh, sorry, you
Hello?
want me to ask the question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you had a question to ask. No, I've completely lost my train of thought now. Can you carry on? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Hey, Christian, so on our sister show, we've been talking a lot about Mark Sultana from the Caroline Springs George Cross about the whole issue of the promotion, relegation, and it's an issue that's not going to go away. So we obviously don't know the composition of next year's league. We don't know if George Cross and Brimbank Stallions are going to be there or if they're going to move up to NPL 3. Either way, you've seen probably enough to know what is needed to succeed in State 1. And obviously, apart from the astronomical budgets that some of the clubs in Melbourne have, what else do you need? Do you know what sort of players you need to ensure that survival in State 1? And is that going to be sort of a key priority, chasing those type of players in the off season?
Yeah, absolutely. I was early on. I was more than confident with what we had there in terms of the players, and obviously if we could keep everybody on the park. And yeah, like you said, there's always going to be a couple of clubs that are forking out astronomical funds for players, and that's that's never going to be us. And one would argue also that is it really sort of a sustainable way to run your club always. So the mandate for this year was to cement ourselves in State 1 and build on from there. Behind the scenes, there's a lot going on in terms of our junior football. Obviously, with the new facilities, that's coming on. I think that's starting now. So we're going to have, be able to cater to a lot more. We're sort of taking an approach, and I've identified sort of where we should target and what we would need and what we really want to try and do. And me personally as well is give some of these younger guys locally that maybe haven't had a first team chance yet, and promote the youth of the area predominantly, and see where we can go. I think that you always need a blend of having some experienced players and a couple of mature age players for the guys to learn off. But I'm of the belief if you're good enough, age is irrelevant really. So I don't have any problems at all. Yeah, giving the younger guys a chance at senior football. And then from there, if they progress, again, I don't have any problems with them challenging themselves and going to an NPL side. We would encourage them to do that. I think players sell themselves short if they don't want to sort of challenge themselves and try and get into a higher league. No problems with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point of view to have. Now, looking forward to the preseason, like is the group looking to start to get together in December maybe when that's allowed, or what's the plans likely to look like?
Yeah. Lockdown permitting, we've got plans in place. We're sort of pretty far ahead of what we're going to do. We're hoping to get together collectively in a few weeks. We've penciled in preseason to start for December. I generally like to get 4 to 5 sessions in before Christmas, and then we'll get them back just probably in week 2 in January. But to date, we may have to start a little bit early. We've had a lot of interest from a number of players. We've probably fielded around 20 to 25 new players.
Wow.
Excluding with what we've got. So the door's open to everybody, and we're happy to, I'm sure there's lots of different standards and different expectations, but we're a strong community club there, and we really want to support that and push the youth.
Yeah, well, next year looks like it's going to be a very, very exciting time for Geelong soccer in general, but obviously with the new facilities, and we'll find out more about that when Mario Gregorio joins us shortly. But it should be a very, very interesting year ahead, or 12 months ahead. So, Christian, we wish you all the very, very best for 2022, and hopefully next year we can have a complete football season, and this time next year we can talk about, I don't know, maybe promotion to NPL 3. Who knows?
Fingers crossed, because I can guarantee you I don't like coaching pre-season just as much as the players don't like running in pre-season.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian, thank you very much for joining us. And once again, all the very, very best for season 2022. And thank you for your support this year.
Thanks, guys. All the best. Appreciate it.
You too. Thanks, Christian.
That was Christian Bright, the senior men's head coach of the Corio Soccer Club. And we're going to try and hopefully, we're going to have a little bit of a break now. When we do return, we'll hopefully have Mario Gregorio on the show. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and it's our absolute pleasure. And you can hear him say hello. It's Mario Gregorio joining us live on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Mario, we've having a little bit of technical problems, but we've got you finally back on, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Tonksy and Steve. Glad to be back on the show.
Now, firstly, thank you very much for teeing up tonight's very, very special guest, Andy Bernal, who will be joining us a little bit later on, and also for Elephant and Castle being our major sponsor tonight and giving us an opportunity to really take a look at the year that was. But, mate, we want to focus on the future, and an exciting future down at Hume Reserve. Today, you made a little trip out to Rendine Constructions in their facility out in Moolap, to just check on the latest regarding the off-site construction of the new facilities, the brand spanking new facilities, I must add. How did it all go?
Look, it's pretty exciting. It's actually daunting, because when I arrived, I thought I was witnessing the whole complex, but it was only half the complex, which I was able to view today. And that's it's part of the new change room complex. So we've got 4 new change rooms, a gymnasium, referee room with 2 showers, a storeroom, which is absolutely massive, for us to store our equipment. And it's going to be twice as big. So it's going to be twice as big as that, with the new club rooms to be added to that starting from next week.
Oh,
and it looks like it's motoring ahead there. Is it going to be finished on time, do you think, Mario, or even ahead of schedule, perhaps?
Well, definitely, because 3 weeks ago when I went out there, it was just basically a bit of steel on crates, and 3 weeks later, they've basically constructed all the frames up and the roof and the decking, and yeah, it'll be definitely finished by the first week of March. So we won't have any change rooms until March, but definitely first week in March. They've already started drainage works at Hume Reserve. And yeah, exciting times. It's going to be a 60-metre long deck, which is 4 metres wide and 60 metres in length. So it's fantastic. So there'll be a lot of undercover coverage finally for Hume Reserve.
Yeah, now we've seen those photos and they look absolutely fantastic, and it looks like it should be quite exciting, no doubt. What happens there? So they're obviously constructing it off-site, and once they've constructed it, so do they dismantle it in parts?
Yeah, they dismantle it they dismantle it in 3 by 6 by 7.2 meters sort of modules.
Yeah,
and then they basically then put it back together on site at Hume Reserve.
And are they knocking the current dressing rooms down in the meantime?
That's pretty much they've got the fencing all around that at the moment, and that'll be started to be knocked down from next week.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, so it's exciting. Long time coming. Our current change rooms were built in 1974 and are pretty antiquated, and we've got that disjointed sort of club rooms, 150 metres away from our change rooms. But yeah, this will be a fantastic complex, and big thanks to the Geelong City Council and also to the state government for their contribution as well to the project. But
tell us a little bit about that whole process, because it involved quite a lengthy process, didn't it? To get the councillors on board, to get backing from Football Victoria. How did you go about it? Tell us the early sort of processes involved.
It's about a 3 or 4 year process. So you basically just ask council what's required. You then have to try and apply for a grant to for funding to get the drawings done. So that's 1 year is basically takes to get that grant available. Once you get the drawings done, then you submit those and cast them over the eyes of councillors and state government officials. And it's a lengthy process. You then have to write, quite a lengthy presentation to councillors and to state government. I mean, they need to understand that there is a future. They're not going to throw away millions of dollars for a white elephant complex. So it was a 4-year plan. Our plan was to get promoted to State 1, and then from that, then build from our juniors. And then once you got the complex and you got a bit of status in State 1, then you'd start to attract the players. So it's an exciting, from 2 years ago, we had 0 juniors to now 120. Next year, we'll have 150 juniors. We hope to build on our female juniors, keep the fees low. And a major part of that is our sponsors that we do have on board. And we're not here to make money through our junior program. We need to basically have a large number of our local community involved at the junior level. So, yeah, you got the sponsors board up there. Big thanks to all our sponsors there: Buxton's, Kafitza, Homehouse, Marshall Pines, MEK, Roller Shutter, the list goes on. The Gordon, Viva Energy, Avalon Airport, Integral Insurance. So, yeah, the list goes on. Ritchie Brothers, Mavs Restaurant. So, yeah, I can't thank them more than enough.
Avalon Airport, Homehouse Nightclub. You've got some blue ribbon sponsors there. Do you do all the sponsoring, like the attracting the sponsors, or
we have a committee
involved there? Yep.
Yeah, Slavko Pantelic, greatest salesman on earth I've ever met.
Good old Salami, the legend.
Yeah, he sells the story. And I get involved as well, and we all get involved to try and get our sponsors. Chris Bellaverova's helped us as well. Everyone has a contribution in part to win sponsors to our club. But it was important because sponsors aren't going to come to our existing facility, and when they could see that there was an end product with our new facility, then it's going to be a showpiece to be able to bring our sponsors and supporters to enjoy.
Absolutely. And speaking of the committee, Mario, how are things looking now in the closed season period? Is there likely to be any turnover or new people joining?
Yeah, look, we're pretty confident that we can increase our numbers on our committee. I think every club basically does struggle with help, but we're pretty confident, well, I am, that we'll be able to attract more people to our committee. We've had a lot of new people involved in the club, particularly through our junior program. something that we never had in the past. And, it's great to see on Wednesday nights, parents getting involved. We have pizza night every Wednesday night for our juniors. We never had that. I haven't seen that at Corio for a long time. So, our junior committee there with Vicky Patara and his wife, Eleanor, and, we got some other people, Tanya and Ray, and Ray and his husband. Sorry, Tanya and Tanya Crightley and her husband have been great as well. So, it's been a great help. Can't thank people enough.
Now, mate, we in one of the previous shows we had Roy Hay on 2 weeks ago, talked about the history of Geelong soccer and some of the clubs that haven't been around. Now, Corio Soccer Club is a club steeped in history, and they've been the Geelong United, the Italian influence that you're so familiar with. There was the early days when Corio was an Austrian and German club, and they also had the Northern Suburbs Club, which merged with Corio. Now, we've got a photo that this was an old Northern Suburbs team. Now, this is a team, I'm not too sure exactly when. Now, Carl Hamill sent us this. He's currently over in Western Australia. But we've got names like Zoltan Luxo, Alan Bagshaw, the Gage brothers, Stephen and Goran. Duncan Thompson, I think, was the coach there. Darko Bosniak, Ivan Bosniak, John Strain still involved in some way. Zoran Trajkovski, Miklas Lozanovsky. Mate, do we know any idea what year this was taken?
I guess looking at that, probably in the I reckon the late 80s, I think. Zolly looks like Zolly's got a bit of hair there.
He's got a bit of hair. Yeah, looks like it would have been the old amateur league, was it? Amateur division?
Yeah, I'd say it'd be around about the maybe 86, 87, 88 in that sort of time frame.
So what year did Northern Suburbs and Corio Geelong United merge to form what is today Corio?
I don't know. Is that one of our questions that we're going to give away the books to?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know, but it would have been in the early 90s, was it? Something.
It was in the
that?
early 90s, yeah. But Corio's steeped in a lot of history. Actually, the other thing I found out was the ground where pitch one is near our change rooms was actually 30 metres sort of down from 30 metres down north. So where the club room was, it used to be the centre of where the ground used to be positioned.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, I only just found that out
now.
The other day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now to see
and then,
why it's located like it is.
The council moved it because they thought that Barton Street was going to run through, which it never did. So they had to move the ground. So I found out in the 60s that the Corio ground was positioned right in front of the club rooms. Which was amazing.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but in the 50s, I used to play at North Geelong High School, then they moved to Hume Reserve. There's a bit of history there of Corio with the German and Austrian and a little bit of Dutch influence in the 50s and 60s and 70s. The merger with Corio, with Geelong United in the 80s. And then finally I guess with Northern
and Bell Park being such an epicentre of football in Geelong, with the migrant community, it was always sort of the centre point of football. And look, with all of the renovations that are going to be happening, the construction of the new facility or the new change room facility, it's certainly going to be a welcome addition to Hume Reserve. And look, have you got any plans in mind as far as an opening or functions, etc.?
Yeah, there will be a major function in March to invite all our sponsors and people involved with council and state government officials. And I'm sure we can potentially have a live feed. Who knows with you guys there? But
that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd
love to have a major function there in March when we open. And we just got to make sure we've got all the infrastructure right. We'll have to start buying all the furniture as well for the new premises. So it's going to be a 90-seat function room with the decking out the front. It'll be a centerpiece of Bell Park. It'll be I can't wait, to be honest. It'll be a game changer for the club and also for the local community in Bell Park. Hopefully, it'll be a bit of a hub, and it used to be a hub, Hume Reserve. There used to be 6 soccer grounds there at one stage.
Yes, I do remember as a kid. There was just a flurry of activity, and I remember one year there was an Advertiser Cup. Back then, there were three pitches going all the way down to Thompson's Road, and then I think there was another pitch further on. I was just in kind of to the north of where the Bocce Club is at the moment.
Yeah, there was. Used to be 3 pitches there.
So, and then 2 up the top there as well. So that's awesome. Mate, if you want to hang on, we've got Andy Bernal, who's in the green room, and he's going to be joining us very, very shortly. But we might take a little bit of a quick break, and when we return, we'll have Andy on. But because you were very instrumental in getting Andy on the show tonight, so I'd love to have you on. Stay on if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, all right. You're tuning into the football. Oh, sorry, I almost said the Football Out West, the Geelong Region Soccer Show, where it's our last show of the season. Don't go away. When we return, Andy Bernal, former Socceroo legend and new book author, he'll be joining us, and he's got a very, very special giveaway to give away. Don't go away. Oysters, salmon, steak. Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends. Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night, as well as live sport on the big screens every Friday night. Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course. Situated on 158 McKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. There is even a function space available in the heated undercover beer garden out the back. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book online, click on the Book Now tab on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au. www.elephantandcastle.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is our last show for this year, and it's an absolute pleasure to oh goodness me, we had him and we've just lost him. We're about to bring on Andy Bernal, ex-Socceroo legend and the author of his latest book, and there it is, Riding Shotgun, the autobiography of the original Wizard of Oz. And there we go, and we have Andy joining us live here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Andy, a very, very warm welcome to you. How are you? And thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
I'm good, thank you, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Loud and clear, Andy. Yep.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you to Mario for making it happen. It's a pleasure. You know, it's an opportunity to further discuss football in the country and talk about my autobiography. And part of writing that was remembering the history of football in this nation, and for a while now we've forgotten about the trailblazers and the pioneers that created it, on and off the pitch, and that's what I plan to do, and I'm enjoying being back in the football space.
Yeah. Now, Andy, tell us how did the idea or the concept of writing a book come about? Because this is the first time you've actually written one, and it's an autobiography to boot. What were some of the advices that you were given, or the inspiration that you fed off? But more importantly, how did you arrive at the idea of writing a book?
I look for 10 years now. People have, I've told close friends and people around my circle of my journey, where it began in Canberra, of Spanish, the son of Spanish immigrants, and ending up with David Beckham, as his manager, and being part of that massive deal for him transferring to Real Madrid. And then after all that, being a victim of the phone hacking scandal, and then, in Britain, and then, following on to, being Gus Hiddings' chief scout for the Socceroos in 2006. So, I've known for a long time that I've lived a movie, I've lived a Netflix series, or whatever series you want to call it. And, that was ever more existent in my mind, the week, probably 24 hours after landing in Madrid.
Yeah.
And just the chaos and madness of being with Beckham at the time. It was the biggest transfer, and he was, the number one superstar on the planet at the time. And he was married to a Spice Girl, so it was almost like football, the royals of football. And to Real Madrid, and the Galacticos were there, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Zidane, Figo. For me, an amazing time. But hanging with Beckham is also a curse at times, as the book will tell you. And people offer you a lot of money to reveal things, on the family. They hack phones, they surveil you. And, it caused some dark times for me as well. But the story is a story of resilience, of not giving up, of fighting big powers and telling your story and being here and never giving up. And that's what I did. And, I've been embraced by the football, the new Football Australia, the Socceroos, the Matildas, the La Liga, the PFA. Everyone's jumped on board and they're endorsing the story. And I really believe the greatest thing, it'll be a source of education for every young kid going forward in football, about a kid that, 1984, 85 became the first Australian to ever play in Spain.
Andy, is there a particular moment in your involvement with football that you just pinch yourself and think, wow, that was just the most fantastic thing that I ever got to experience that?
Oh, where do I start? I grew up in Canberra, playing for my local team, Belconnen, and, I loved football, but I loved rugby league. I wanted to play rugby league. I wanted to be a kangaroo. That was a way of fitting into Australia a bit more and not being called a wog all the time, every single day. And, chapter 2 of the book is very, the hardships that a lot of migrants have, and it was written for every migrant. My dad's story is amazing, from crocodile hunting to sugarcane cutting, and it's football was the escape, but a beautiful escape, like it was for many migrants in Melbourne, where you guys in Geelong are from, and on weekends. And there's too many to mention. I mean, you can start from being the youngest ever Olyroos captain in 1984, to playing for the Socceroos, to Brian Clough signing me for Nottingham Forest, to playing back at Sydney Olympic and winning the national title with them. A few years later, running out at Wembley Stadium in a playoff final, 80,000 people. You dream of playing at Wembley.
Gosh,
as a kid, you're watching Craig Johnston, on the box at Wembley. You see the pitch, the stadium, and man, and one day you're running out on it. It's insanity. But for me, I always had, growing up in Australia, I had a couple of posters on my wall. Viv Richards, Leeds United, and Mad Diego Maradona. But there was something about stadiums around the world that captivated me. The San Siro, the Bernabeu, Wembley Stadium, teams, Man City, Elland Road, Leeds United, Old Trafford. And I wasn't the greatest Socceroo. I wasn't the worst, but I was the first at a lot of things. The first to play in Spain, the first to play in Spain and England, the first to captain an English club ever. From all the Socceroos that have been there, the first to do that at any level. And, they're things that I'm very proud of. There's so many, my friend, that the list is endless. And it's, I suppose every day when you can play is a blessing. I'm an older man now and I can't play anymore. And I've got a knee that I shouldn't have even played one game on, after being born. After my birth, my left knee was not good you know.
Really? There you go.
And I was told by doctors that I would never be able to even walk without pain. But I've had pain every single day, and just a career on one leg.
Mate,
but
there's
like I said, I wasn't the greatest or the worst, but I've had some beautiful moments.
Yeah, as we just saw there, we had the back sleeve of the book there as well, and we'll try and bring that up again. And where are we? There we go. It says there, Riding Shotgun is an extraordinary, honest, and raw account, which, much like Bernal as a player, leaves nothing out in the park. But ultimately, it is a standout tale because it is a story of resilience, hope, redemption, and love. Mate, that's pretty powerful. And kudos to you. But normally football players get a ghostwriter to write it. In your case, you've written it yourself, which makes it even more extraordinary. Tell us the processes involved in how you sort of started it and how you went about it. And, talking off air, you were telling me how you were getting a little bit of assistance with a few people there in Canberra. Just basically, if there's anyone out there that wants to write a book about either their club or their, a player that they followed, or, we've got a couple of Socceroos, ex-Socceroos here in Geelong as well. Maybe someone might want to be a ghostwriter because, Mario, isn't this one thing? We just don't have enough documented evidence or documented stories of football here in Geelong, and that's something that Roy Hay, illustrated, a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, that's correct. It would be fantastic if we could even a documentary on of Geelong football way back from the 50s. It'd be great if we had a book like that.
Yeah, Andy, what's your advice to embark on a project like that?
Look, I think sometimes as ex-footballers, as footballers, you put into a category, you categorise into, dumb old footballers. That's all they know, what to do, how to do. And no, my father was an intelligent man that unfortunately wasn't able to go to school, but he was an intelligent man. He did poetry. He wrote. He loved music. He sang. And I think I've inherited, a lot of that flow. And, I had never written a book, but I had a book in my head. It was in there every single day. And if you have a book in your head and you don't release it, it's a torture every day. And I just needed this book out. So I'd never done that before. A friend of mine, Russ Gibbs, who's a commentator down here for the MPL, good guy. He's done some stuff on the W League and for Fox Sports. I said, I want to tell you the story. I want to tell you my whole story. Good, bad, everything. Because if you're going to tell your story, let's put it all on the table, because I want it to be an education and lesson for those coming through next. And it was quite simple in the end. I said to Russ, I haven't written a book. And he's a journalist, marketing guy, and he'd written a couple of books. So we laid out a plan, 10, 11, 12 chapters. This is how we're going to do it. I had the idea that my first chapter would be the same as David Beckham's first chapter in My Side, his autobiography. So My Side, his one is going into Madrid through his eyes, and Riding Shotgun is going into Madrid chapter 1 through my eyes. And then second chapter goes into,
that's where the Riding Shotgun comes into it.
Yes. Yeah. So being born in
the pennies dropped.
So, I'd been stewing on a name, a title for the book for a while, and my wife will tell you I put things up on the fridge, and just one day I was writing the book. I was writing second, third chapter growing up in Canberra, hunting a lot with go hunting a lot, shotguns as a kid with my dad, in the bush around here, and shotgun was in my mind. It was resonating a lot, and then riding shotgun. I rode shotgun with Beckham, and that was it. It was like bang, and the name resonates, And I did ride shotgun with him. No one else has ever been in that position, and then. In a conversation with Benita Merciades, who used to be the CEO or manager of the Socceroos, and she ghost wrote Frank Farina's autobiography. And we got talking, and I said, I'm writing my book, Benita. And, for me, it was really I knew it. I had it in my head, and it just used to flow and flow. And I'd be up till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and I'd be on this, this laptop at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, nights of just recounting. And the funny thing is, I've written this book is about 80,000 words. I've left out about 70,000 that I had written as well. So it's kind of like I've got a lot of side stories from, how many Ronaldo parties can I tell you about? So I've told you the main one, but there's a lot of side stories, and riding shotgun was, it covered a lot of things. It was riding shotgun with my dad as a kid when I'd go hunting. It was riding shotgun with Beckham. It was, after football, as an agent, the first client, the first kid I ever managed, recruited, represented was Tim Cahill, arguably the greatest Socceroo ever. And I rode shotgun with him. Rode shotgun with Tom Rogic, did all his Celtic deals. Rode shotgun, took Carl Valeri to Inter Milan.
Wow.
So very blessed, very blessed. Had my downtimes as well, with addiction. But I'm here, and if you read the book, I shouldn't be here because most people are dead.
Wow.
But I'm here for a reason, I believe.
Yeah. Now, it's a fantastic tale. And I was just going to, sorry, before we go on, Steve, I've just popped it in the comments section, www.fairplaypublishing.com.au. The book retails for $34.99. Well worth every single cent. That's for sure. And there are other fantastic football books in Fair Play Publishing on that Fair Play Publishing website as well. So, do yourself a favor, especially in these times of, lockdowns and people being unable to work. There's some brilliant books, some recent books as well. Be My Guest, Football Superstars in Australia. That one's also come out. Stories of Pioneers of Women's Football in Australia. That was Dedicated Lives, and that retails for $29.99. All these books are available on the Fair Play Publishing website. Now we're going to be giving away 3 copies shortly. We'll be putting up a multiple choice question, and there is Mario holding that, and we'll be putting that up very, very shortly. But before we do that, Steve, you've got another question you wanted to ask?
Oh, I've just been dying to ask Andy about the cover art that's been chosen for the front cover there. It looks gritty, edgy, but also colourful and passionate. How did the cover come to be, and who put that together?
Okay, it's done by a friend of mine, Christopher Paultoff, and the painting was actually entered in this year's Archibald Prize. We didn't win. Artwork is subjective. And, you look at some things that win and some things that don't, and it's subjective, but it was entered in the Archibald Prize. It was a photo. The photo was from Tom Rogic's wedding, and I liked that particular look and that particular photo. And then my friend Christopher had done similar portraits of Hugh Hefner, of Conor McGregor, of Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, some quite illustrious and famous people out there. And I said, can you do one for me, please? And he said, yeah, mate, it'd be an honour. So I've got the original here behind me, which is it's really wow. It's really wow. It's a very special painting. It's probably 6'5", something like that. It's a real beauty, and just a great piece of work, a great piece of art that I'm very proud he did it. I'm blessed. It's going to be on the cover of the Spanish book that I'm.
Oh well, just mid-sentence there. We've lost back. Good.
So we're doing the Spanish one. Be out kind of, I want it around Christmas, and then I'll do a couple of audio ones.
Yeah.
But
are you doing the Spanish one? Is your Spanish fluent enough to do that, or are you getting someone to co-edit it for you?
No, I wanted to write the book myself. I wanted
Wow,
to.
brilliant.
So I wrote it in English myself, and then, of course, the editors, they come in and they have an editor that makes sure that all the grammar is correct and things like that. The flow of the book, the sentences, the whole lot is done by me. And
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and then from the Spanish one, I said to Benita, I said, I'm going to translate it. I want to do the whole project. And but I engaged a couple of friends of mine from Sydney, two mad Atletico Madrid fans that have been out in Australia for 5-6 years, and they worked here at the Spanish embassy. And my cousin, an architect in Santander, he's a professor of grammar or something, linguistics at university in Spain. So I've done the whole translation, and I would say it probably 95% perfect. And I've got those three to have a look at it and just correct any grammar or something that I may not be up to scratch with. But the basic translation of the book in the words and the way and the flow that I want it has been done by me.
Mate, that is absolutely fantastic. Gents, any last questions for our guest tonight? Mario?
Anything you want, guys?
I've got a question. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, Andy. And I also started reading the book and just messaged Andy through Instagram, and he replied back, and we had a chat over the phone. So I appreciate that. Thank you. The question I have is, what set you apart back in those days to be able to achieve, that accomplishment to go overseas and play? I mean, as a player, we see in Australia there's tens of thousands of kids trying to make it, and but what set you apart from the others? And be honest in the answer.
I think the fighting spirit, I don't know if it's a Spanish background. We all have fighting spirit. It doesn't matter what background you're from. There was just this burning desire to we didn't have PlayStations then. We didn't have anything like that. It was just everything was sport. School was athletics, rugby league, football, and this burning desire to play in these stadiums overseas. And what I did do, what my parents did do, is they took me to little athletics. They let me play cricket. So I played every sport. I was a very good cricketer. I was a better rugby league player than footballer. Athletics, Dad would take me around all the national championships, and then 100 metres, 200, 400. You got to be a great athlete to play at top level. You can't. People have this misconception that Messi and these guys they just dribble and stuff like that. No, they don't. Yeah. Messi's 20-metre sprint is faster than the ever recorded time at an NFL draft. So you've got to become a fantastic, great athlete. The thing that differentiates playing A-League with Championship in England and then EPL in England, or Serie A or La Liga, is the quality of athlete. I've played, FA Cup matches against Man United and then played against Nottingham Forest or West Ham. A lot of good players of very equal ability at times. But the ones that play for Man United and PSG and for Brazil and Argentina at the highest levels, they're the best athletes amongst those very good players. It's natural selection.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So you've got to become, great warriors. I think the past 10, 15 years, the coaching and curriculums here have destroyed our nation. We don't want to go to war anymore. We don't want to fight anymore. We've the old NSL, and I think I'm not bagging NSL. I'm not bagging either A-League or NSL, but we kind of produced more. It was just kind of we were lucky. I grew up with a lot of migrants in my year. As of 12, 13, 14, 15, a lot of migrants that came over that had played football in Europe, and they would teach you little, the things of the street, the viveza, they call it in South America and Spain. I recently grabbed a couple of, Australian under-16 international defenders, and I said, this is what I would do, and this is what Sergio Ramos does. And one of them says, that's illegal. Yeah, it is. Don't get caught.
Yeah, it's still not illegal if the referee doesn't see it.
Do you know what I mean?
Have we lost our killer instinct?
So there was a killer instinct, and it was a boy, Mario, that by 18, 19, 20, I'd had 7 operations on a left knee, with hundreds of holes drilled into it. And the only alternative was to play with pain the rest of my life, or weld it, fuse it so that I wouldn't have pain. They put a plastic knee in. The technology wasn't great then anyway, and you can't play. So it was on one leg and just a burning desire. And, I think later on in life, you kind of, it affects you, to a certain extent, the sacrifices you make, the going overseas. There's no messenger, there's no WhatsApp, there's no mobile phones to talk to mum and dad.
Yep.
You go overseas, you put on a plane, you land at a club, you sign, you go to a room that's no bigger than a prison cell. You watch a Spanish TV that's fuzzy. You've got to put a coat hanger in it to fix the coverage. But it's a kid's dream, and the thought of playing, at the Bernabeu Stadium far outweighs all the negativity. But then 25, 30 years later, your dad passes and you ask yourself, well, I've lived 20 years away from my dad. Was it worth it? So the beautiful game is the beautiful game, but not all the time.
Yeah. Looking back on it, do you regret it? Do you regret all the sacrifices and all the glory and all the fame and
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't swap. Even the bad. I can have a laugh about it now, and I've lived a life that very few have. Very few live. That riding shotgun life, that James Bond life, hanging out with SAS commandos and Fidel Castro's intelligence units, in Madrid and playing at Wembley Stadium, winning a national title here with Sydney Olympic, playing for the Socceroos. I wish I'd have played more, but my knee, I was 100 kappa, but my knee wouldn't allow it. So, I don't want to seem ungrateful. I did what I did. Played for the Aussie youth team. Came through the AIS. Very blessed, grateful. It's had its toll, but I wouldn't change anything. I'm happily married now. I've gone through my dramas. I have a lovely daughter, a granddaughter. My son-in-law is one of the best UFC fighters on the planet. So just backing him with his career now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, mate, next year when Corio Soccer Club opens its lavish new facility down at Hume Reserve, Mario, I reckon bringing Andy Bernal down to have a sportsman's night would be an absolute fantastic night. This would be, and this, I mean, I'm mesmerised just by listening to a snippet of your career, but can't wait to read the book. And that book, by the way, $34.99. A small price to pay for an insight into what, as you said, a James Bond lifestyle. That's available at fairplaypublishing.com.au. Steve, we'll leave it to you. Any last questions?
Well, we've got a question to ask our audience, if I'm correct, Tonchi.
Well, shall we do that then? Okay, let's put that question up on the screen there. It's a multiple choice question, and if you can get the first three that send us an email, we'll get a copy of Riding Shotgun. So, what year did Corio Geelong United merge with Northern Suburbs to form the club now known simply as Corio Soccer Club? Was it A, 1991, B, 1994, C, 1989, or D, 1992? So 89, 91, 92, or 94. Email your answers to communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. That's communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. The first three correct answers will receive a copy of the fantastic new book by Andrew Bernal, Riding Shotgun. And when you send us that email, we'll get in touch with you how you best can pick up a copy of that book. Now we'll pop that email in the comments section, communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. That question again: what year did Corio Geelong United merge with Northern Suburbs to form the club now known simply as Corio Soccer Club? 1991, 1994, 1989, or 1992? Good luck, folks, and start sending that email. Andy, once again, wishing you all the very, very best with the book itself. Thank you so much for coming on our show and making our last show of the year such an auspicious occasion. Thanks to your fantastic tales, and we look forward to speaking to you and maybe seeing you in the new year.
Oh, definitely. Put me down for that. I'm planning to do an Australia-wide tour, but Melbourne and Geelong, two really important places for football in this nation, and I would love to go down and see you guys and spend time with Mario's fantastic club and help you guys out and do an event. I've done a few around here already at the O'Connor Nights Croatian Club, and just really, really great nights, empowering and inspiring, all the kids. So I just want to thank you for having me on. And, I don't say it lightly. It's getting good reviews around the world, and it would be for parents out there, do yourselves a favour, buy it for the kids for Christmas. It's the greatest football education you can give them this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, Andy, thank you very much once again for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was Andy Bernal, former Socceroo legend. Mario, thank you very much for organising that. Really appreciate that. It is a great little chat. And, mate, we wish you all the very, very best for next year in the off-season as well. And once again, thank you very much, so much for supporting the Geelong Region Soccer Show this year.
And yeah, I just want to thank Tonksy and Steve and the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's probably the only soccer show in Australia that gives weekly news and all that. And I just want to do a shout out to all the clubs of Geelong. If you can support the show for next year, that'd be fantastic. So we've got a constant stream of shows, organised for next year. So it's a great avenue to support the show and also to promote your own club. So thank you.
Good on you. And
thanks, Mario. Thanks very much.
Mario Gregorio, president of the Corio Soccer Club, joining us. Mate, that brings us to the end of the show. Before we do go, we will pop that question up again one last time. What year did Corio Geelong United merge with Northern Spirit? Northern Suburbs.
Northern Spirit was a good club in the NSL.
Oh, that was shocking. To form the club now known simply as Corio Soccer Club. Was it 1991, 1994, 1989, or 1992? Email all of your answers to the Community Sports Media Services, Community Sports Media at gmail.com. Looks like we may have two already. Michael Ong says answer is B. I think Michael Ong has already got a book, but he will.
Keyboards, smoke coming out of the keyboard at Michael Ong's house. Yeah.
We have also someone very, very well known to us who's also got the answer correct. I think I just gave away the answer then. And that is our co-host from the Football Out West show, Craig Filer. He has got the answer right. And we've got someone has just sent through an email. JG, could that person send back that email with that name? So I don't recognize that email, but yeah. Oh, I think it could be Joey Giacomazzo, if I'm not mistaken. So we have 3 winners. Congratulations and they've all got the correct answer. Michael Ong, Craig Filer, and Joey Giacomazzo will each be getting a copy of The Riding Shotgun. So well done, folks. We have our winners for tonight. That is good stuff.
How good is it having a prize to give away? That's so good.
Oh, brilliant.
And what a prize as well.
And what a
fascinating read.
Mate, thank you for all your hard work, your assistance, your companionship this year. It has been a good year. And to everyone that has joined us this year in any way, shape, or form, thank you so much. Hopefully next year is going to be an even bigger year. This year was going to be massive, but unfortunately, damn COVID put a stop to proceedings. I'm looking forward to to next year, even though this year hasn't finished. And in the meantime, we're still going to be together on a Sunday night with a Football That Way show for another couple of weeks at least. We've got some big shows coming up this weekend. This Sunday, we've got a show about community player development and coaching development as well. So join us too and Craig Filer on a Sunday. But Steve, that's it for us from the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Yeah, so looking forward to taking a bit of a break, and I'm sure the football stories will start breaking as the preseason gets underway for season. What will it be? 2022. Unbelievable stuff, isn't it? But once again, just a really big thank you to the members of the show: Joe Pino, Vlad Zedovic, Stuart Mallon, Paul Grisbeck, Ryan Horrocks, Leonie Smith, and Dale Harris. Thanks to the Rayman, Brenton Ray, promoting our show on social media each and every week. Our man, Santino, always very active in the comments. And of course, I need to thank Kate and Joel as well, always tuning in and giving me their feedback. So thanks everyone who's been involved in tuning in. Really appreciate it. And especially to you, Tonchi, as well, for the work that you put in every Monday night for this show and the lead up, getting great guests for us, speaking to the clubs, making it all happen, bringing the community together, and you do it so well. So congratulations to you.
Takes a village to raise a tribe or something like that. Takes a tribe. I can't remember exactly. So it's not just me, but thank you very much nonetheless. Okay, guys, we do need your support. Show your support. It's for my final appeal for 2021. Become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. There's the website. Go to the website right now, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. We look forward to your support in season 2022. All the very best and good night.
Good night.